today I have a guest from beautiful Italy, Graziano Scarascia, and I hope I'm pronouncing his name well. He's a Reiki master and teacher, and he started practicing in 1990. He studied both Western and Japanese style. He's also the author of several Reiki books and a clinical psychologist and the current national manager of Italy's Department of Holistic Science and Technique of AICS, Culture and Sport Italian Association. Additionally, he's the founder of the Italian Reiki school, ReikiLife Cifor. Graziano has been involved for 4 years in a holistic project hosted by one of the biggest shopping centers in Italy. He'll be talking in detail about that. And through this project, he offers free consultation and Reiki treatments to shopping centers customers. He also conducted research about the effects of Reiki that was published by the medical magazine Alternative Therapies in Health and Medicine. I'm so excited, I cannot speak. So Graziano, welcome. Thank you so much for saying yes.
Thank you very much to having me here. It's really a big pleasure to stay and share this interview with you and have good time with you.
Thank you so much. Always excited when I put like 10 a.m. New York, 3 p.m. Rome, even though the hour, thank God you checked the hour change. So I would love to start the interview the same way I start every interview, which is the first time you discover Reiki, that you came into contact with this practice.
Well, I was 16 years old. In that moment, I was living in Switzerland, in Lucerne. And a friend of mine, her mother, she just came from Germany, and she was Reiki Master in that moment, and she was organizing a first level course. And he said, "You want to come?" Because already I was practicing martial arts. I was very interested about the energy field and this stuff. And so he asked me if I wanted to go. But in that moment, I didn't have the money to make this course. And so I had to reject. But Reiki remained in my memory. And so later then, when I was in Italy, because then when I was 22, my parents went back to Italy. They opened their own business. I stayed there maybe 4 years alone. And my mother always said, "Come back. What you are doing there? Come, la mamma, no? Come. We need that you come help us." And so finally, I give up. I surrendered to my mother, and I went back to Italy. And I was in that moment in Rome, no, in Latina, near of Rome, and I was working in a discotheque. And yes, I did this also.
That must have been something. The 90s, yeah. Rome, discotheque, yeah.
Yes. And I knew there a saxophonist that was a piano bar. And he was practicing the Nam-myoho Renge Kyo Buddhist from Nichiren Daishonin. And he invited me to go practice with him. Okay, in that moment, I was very pleased about the singer of this group, that they was living together. And I said, okay, I will come to practice, but I had another aim too, maybe to know better this girl. And so there I started to practice this Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. And every day I went there to practice. And it was very interesting, that much that I practiced for 5 years then.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And suddenly one evening he comes to me and he said, "Hey, listen, there is a course of Reiki, we have to go." He gave me a book. He said, "Read it. Tomorrow morning we have to stand up and we go in Ostia," that was a city near to Rome, to make this course. And so I said, okay, let's go. It came to me mind about Reiki, that I already in Switzerland heard about it, and said, okay, I agree, let's go. And so I had my first Reiki class.
Wow, that is because I went there the Google way. Most people had like a session. That's a very interesting, different way to go. So yes. You started with Western Reiki, right?
I started with Western Reiki, yes. And I made the first level, then it passed 1 year, and I made then the second level with the same teacher. And I remember, really, if I make comparison to then and now, for example, he left me a manual with 5 pages, something like this. And the symbols, I had to draw it. And then he said, now we have to burn it. I said, wow, why? No, because they lose the power, you know? And I was very scared. I said, oh my God, if I write them somewhere, maybe they will lose the power, and I will put have this burden on me all the life. And it was like this because the Honshatse Shonen, it was very difficult to memorize. You know, I was full of doubt. I did it right, or maybe it's not like this. But then, and in the time that came, I understand a lot of stuff. And but it was very interesting, you know, this way, this secret way to teach the second level of Reiki. And from then on, it passed 8 years before I get master, because I was not interested in teaching. I was very shy. I was very introvert guy. And my main focus was the therapeutic way, you know, treat people. And I remember I was very inside this, you know, with Reiki. I study, I read a lot of books, I train a lot to make my hands more sensible, to feel to feel the biofield of people, chakras, chakra diagnosis. And I remember I stand up maybe in the morning, 8 o'clock, I took the bus, and then I took the train, I go to Rome, I had 3-4 people to treat, then I came back to Latina, then I came back to Sabaudia where I was living. And I was completely immersed in the magic of Reiki. And this was very important, this period for me. Because when I get teacher, I had a very big background about the therapeutic issues. But also, I practice a lot meditation. I went to a lot of retreatments, even crazy retreatments, like New Year.
Oh God!
Instead of going to parties, I went in this. I remember this retreatment that was 5 days without talking to people, just meditation all the day, dynamics meditation, mantra meditation. And we didn't have to talk with each other, okay? And it was very interesting. You know why? Because after maybe 2 days, I watched people around me and I said, okay, now he will watch me and he want to talk to me. And it was exactly like this. Or I said, okay, now she will start to cry. And she started to cry. So I find out that, you know, the verbal communication is important, but the non-verbal communication, it's very strong. And when you attune to this level, to this vibration, you got a lot of information. And this retreatments was very interesting for me. And I did several like this, you know. So I point a lot of to grow in a spiritual way, because for me this was also very important.
Yeah, no, and I think meditation, like I'm trained in Japanese, and meditation and Reiki practice are one, but I think it's great that when you're in more Western lineage, that you balance it with like formal meditation as well. I love that. So how did you go to Japanese Reiki from there?
Okay, when I get mastered, then start a new trip, you know? The first was the therapeutic guy that wanted to be a good therapist, help people to heal, to feel better. And then the teacher trip was obsessive. I wanted to know all the systems that existing. I had to go there. I had to get them. I had to study them because I wanted to find out the secret of Reiki, you know, and it was not enough what I did. I had always the perception that something is missing. I missed some things. I have to know more. And so I get mastered in a lot of systems, you know, in the Western styles, Rakukai, Karuna, and so on, and the universal Reiki. And then for the first time, it arrived in Italy, this Usui Teate that came from Franco Giavappetta. And I said, okay, I have to go do this for sure. I have to go and make this experiment too. I want to see what is this Japanese Reiki now. And it was very interesting because when I was there, it was like, oh, this already I do. Or, oh, this already I talked about it. I have to do it like this. So it was a way to discover that inside me, a lot of information was already there. I just had to find a way to put it out. And so I studied the Japanese, no? Then I went to Komi Reiki with Yakuta Ninamoto. The first time he came to Italy, I had this initiation from him to get mastered. And then Gendai Reiki, and okay. And all this completed a bit my formation as master. So I was a super master with super styles in my lineage, in my CV, but then suddenly I got in crisis. You know, I had a deep crisis in which I put everything in discussion, everything. But suddenly I said, no, something is wrong here. And this was another key point for me, because exactly in the moment I put everything in discussion, you know, I made a step forward in Reiki because I stopped to read and listen others. And I start to listen to myself, to my inner voice. And it was a very creative moment, very creative. I love it. It's like Reiki started really to flow through me. And in a very unexpected way, you know. It was not just, okay, hands-on healing. No, Reiki came out when I'm cooking or when I'm drawing something or when I was talking to someone. For the first time, I felt I embody Reiki. It's not anymore something outside of me, something that I have to connect to, or I have to do some things to have it. And this was, for me, very important. It changed completely. It was a game changer for me.
No, it's funny because you said embody, but I was thinking when you say I listen to myself and it changed, went from performing rituals and techniques to embody the essence, right? Which at the end is a precepts, and the more we embody them 24/7, the happier we are as well, beyond the good to the world. I love that. But I love that sometimes we need to go through all those studies, right? To go there and feel something is wrong and question. And I think many times we're scared as practitioner or teacher of questioning what we learn. But if you don't question it, how do you really embody it? So I like that you're talking about this. It's the first time we bring that questioning forward in the podcast. So I really appreciate it. You probably, how many teachers do you have? Like 300? Like,
I had a lot. I had.
So what do you teach now? Just a question, like when you teach now, how do you decide what to teach?
Now I teach self-empowerment.
Good. I love that.
Actually, you know, if you talk with me about Reiki, it's difficult to put out how I see Reiki today, because it don't match anymore with the common stuff that people generally say about Reiki. I'm really beyond this. I let it back. It's 30 years I practice Reiki.
Yeah.
I didn't start yesterday. And I was active Reiki. On a certain point when I get master, I was working like all the others. I tried to get money to have fun and have a good life. And at a certain point, I heard a voice inside me that said, no, okay, this is what you have to do in your life. You are good at it, do it. And so I decided to let my work and point everything on the teaching, And everybody was against me, not against me. They said, oh, what you are doing? What is this Reiki? Nobody will follow you. You will have hunger. You will not earn money through this. Don't do it. It's a mistake. You have work here that gives you money. Why you have to risk? And my parents too, they was a bit worried about me. And I said, no, don't worry. I will manage it. And I left the work and I went from that city where I was and I moved in another. And then I started to teach. I went from gym to gym. I make presentations. Everywhere they gave me a spot, I was there and was talking about Reiki, And so I opened my school. People start to follow me. And this was very important too for me, to have faith in myself. This changed a lot too. The perception I had about myself. Before I was the introversial, shy guy that always was, the one that is on the side that maybe watch you and you say, hey, what is watching? What do you want? And then suddenly it comes out a lot of energy that I had inside me, and that was asking to come out. It's like an urgency when you have an urgency to say something.
Yeah.
It was like this. And so I followed this urgency. And it was very interesting because it started to flow, people came and in the first, me too, I was very, how I can say, idealistic about Reiki. I had a lot of mystical ideas, spiritual ideas, and because I came from a school a bit like this. And so my first maybe 5, 6, 7 years, I teach a bit traditional way, But then I completely changed. I changed because I get aware, because I had a lot of people that came to me, and I start to see the critical points of this teaching. I say it don't work like this. If I make Reiki courses 2 days, it's really not enough. It will not work. The most of them stop to make Reiki, and so I said, no, you have to change it. And so I changed. I think I was one of the first school in Italy that start to make a bit more professional courses, So a first level was 1 year, second level was 1 year, the master even 1.5 year course. And the way of teaching, I changed completely too. Before the master, for me, because I had these models in front of me, that was my teachers. The master was the one, the leader, the one that you have to follow, the one that opens your channel, the one that is connected with the power, the one that can heal you, can help you, and all this. And completely in the time, I step back, and I give the leadership to the students. And it is actually now my main way to teach. I'm there, and I really try to help them to believe in themselves, to watch inside, and connect with the talents, with the potentials, and stop delegating. Stop delegate. There is no a symbol or an initiation or something's outside you that will fix your problems. You have to do it. So Reiki is a good way, is a tool that can help you in it. But everything you achieve, it's not because of Reiki or the Reiki Master or I don't know who, it's thanks to you. And this is in according with the dicomio meaning, you know, this big bright light that you have inside you, but you don't see it. You don't see it because you are watching somewhere else. You are identified with some things that you are not. And till you are identified with something you are not, you will not see who you really are. So my main work now, because of this, I said, now I teach to empower people. It's exactly this. I try to help them to see how beautiful they are, how special they are, and to find out that they have the potential to have a good life, to be happy. Everything is already there. You just have to take it and use it and stop always delegate, because delegating is like you go always to ask to drink to someone. No, go search the water, search the source. And then when you will find the source, you are independent. You don't need anybody anymore. So this is my main mission in the moment with Reiki. I try to do this.
It's great. And I want to highlight two things that you said that I think are very important. First of all, as a teacher, being our bright light so people can find their bright light versus being their beacon, right? We have to embody this light so people can find theirs. Sure. The second thing you said, you had faith and you listen to the voice, leave everything and teach Reiki, but you follow by action, right? Because a lot of times we have faith, sure. But it's not like you didn't wait for the students, like you went, as you said, to every gym, you did presentations. Yes. So a lot of times we use Reiki to manifest, and I'm guilty too. I'm like, okay, make stuff come my way, right? But it's like you can have faith, but you do have in the Reiki world, even though it's a spiritual practice, to follow it with action, So I love the fact that you work so hard. Yeah. And talking about action, because I was very impressed when we met, it was about this research. A lot of us were always wondering, there is no really Reiki research, and we complain, we try to organize and nothing happens. And yet you with a partner did a quite interesting research in Italy with some very professional. So can you share a little bit how that idea came about and what the core of the research is?
Okay, I made this research with my colleague, Luigi Cristiano, and it came because always when I was talking maybe with other psychologists or a bit in my field or with doctors, because I had several doctors maybe that was students of mine, there was always this skeptical attitude about Reiki, And they always say, yes, okay, it makes you relax. But relaxing has a lot of benefits. Maybe pain goes away, your muscle relax, your mind gets relaxed, stress goes. And so they start, because, the medical scientific mind is like this. They have a pattern, and they say, okay, you lay down, the light is dimmer light, a nice soft music, and then someone comes, he touch you, and all this has a big impact on the mind. And it's true. It's really true. Especially the touch. The touch is a very strong impact on the human body in a even hormonal way, And so I was involved in this project in this big shopping center. And I thought, okay, why don't use this context to make a research? No? And this time I want to isolate I want to try to isolate the effect of Reiki so that I want to see what happens if I put out all this variable, like the light, the music, the touch, and what will happen. to these people that I will treat. And another factor was that they never had to have Reiki treatments in their life. Had to be the first. So to don't have a bias, you know, because maybe when you already get Reiki treatments, you have some expectations about it. So these people, these 70 people, they never had a Reiki treatments before. They came in and I told nothing to them. I didn't make relaxation before, or I said, okay, sit down, close your eyes, breathe. I said, okay, because before outside, they took the privacy issues all, and so that they agree to be part of this research. But they didn't tell them nothing. They just asked, you know, Reiki? Maybe someone said yes, but I don't know nobody that do it. I never got the treatment. Okay, you can be part of the research. This was the admissibility criteria that we had. So once in, I made them lay down. I said, don't close your eyes.
Wow. Yeah.
We had up a neon light, very strong neon light, and all the noise of the shopping center. I have some videos. I will send you them. Just want to hear what happened there. Okay?
It doesn't sound relaxing at all. It sounds like
at all.
scary.
At all. Yes. And imagine someone entering the room and you saying, okay, lay down, don't close your eyes, and you tell nothing, you know? They maybe ask, hey, and what will happen? I said, no talk. We will talk in the end. Yes, it was very important.
Yeah.
Because even when you talk, you have an influence, your voice, for example.
Yeah.
Okay. Even how they perceive you, how you looks can have an impact. So I really try to put out all these influences. And I made bioscan first. I went through the biofilm, and then I go treat from the head to the toe, the positions that generally you use in the Western Reiki. And then I stay a bit more in the points I felt they need to get treated. Okay. End of this, I said, okay, now stand up, sit down, and I gave them the questionnaire. And with Likert scale, you know, they had to write from 5 very much to 1 nothing, the perception they have. For example, the light disturbed you, you felt cold, you felt tingling, you felt headache, you had pain, you get relaxed, you're, for example, all these feelings that you can have during a Reiki session, you know, you feel hot on the face, and then we collect all these data and we analyze it. And what came out was really interesting. It was interesting because we get aware that one of the most high percentage of people felt relaxation. They was relaxed.
Wow. And without touch, without music,
yes,
without closing their eyes.
Without nothing. Yeah. And the hot, for example.
Yeah.
A lot of people feel this sensation of hot, but I didn't touch them. It was like this, distance, you know. And part of people that had pains, pain goes. And even they had cognitive perception, you know, like the thoughts came, you know, in a psychological way, some stuff changed, you know. Even how I can say, maybe there was a bit first, I don't know, sad, or maybe they had fight, and after they felt good. They said, okay, I have a good feeling now. It was very nice. And then we had final questioning. There was like, would you do it again? Would you make a Reiki course and stuff like this, to know what was their perception about the Reiki. And this was the first research that someone made in that way. A lot of Reiki research are now be done in several fields, about cancer and other fields. But maybe this is the first in which we try to isolate the effect of Reiki. But even there, I get aware it's not enough, because even there you can go deeper, and because in the moment that someone laid down and in his mind, even he don't know what he's doing, anyway, he feel you will do some things on it. And this can create expectations too, And then when you start to feel some stuff, maybe it's okay, I can relax. It's nothing. He don't touch me. Nothing bad
you're
happens.
You're a more optimistic person. If I'm sitting there, I'm like, what are they gonna do to me? Are they gonna like hack me to pieces? Are they gonna cut me up? Are they gonna do witchcraft on me? So you're more optimist. So it can work. Like, I know what you're saying, but it can work also the other way. If you're like crazy Scorpio, yes, like I am.
No.
I'll be like, is Graziano gonna cut my arms off?
He will.
It's Halloween today, so we have to add a little.
Yes, we have to. Yes.
But you also did a paper, and it was well received, right? Can you tell us a little bit about the reception of your project, of your research?
Yes, it was inserted in several databases, and I was called to present the outcomes, For example, the ERG, European Reiki Group, invite me, and the Portuguese Federation also. Even they gave me an award, the Hayashi Reiki Research Award for this research. And yes, it's a drop, in all the ocean, but it can be interesting for future researchers also. Maybe they can watch on it and say, what he did, okay, we can do this better, or we can do it in another way. And yes, in Italy also, I made some webinars in which I try to put out the results of the research. And yes, I think a Reiki master that has the possibility to do research also have to do it. Now in the hospital, we are thinking about the new project that we want to do with Reiki, but with mindfulness also, because I made master in mindfulness, and we want to apply these techniques on people with heart diseases, heart stroke, and to manage their emotions, their fears, because after a heart stroke, it's very difficult. Again, take a normality in the life. You have always fear it can happen again, And so we want to give them tools, instruments to manage these feelings. And so Reiki and mindfulness, meditations, we are working on this kind of research now.
Perfect. And I'm so grateful you're giving the tools. I just want to round up the research a little bit by highlighting a few things, because, and as I mentioned before, like most of us always, we think about it, we don't organize it, but it was you and a partner. Consistency seems to have been very key, right? You are always the practitioners, and also numbers, right? 70 sessions in the same place, same environment, and also really understanding the psychology of human being and relaxation, really taking those variables out. I think also some studies are making sure people are not on medication, so if people want to do research, they should really be aware of those things as well, right? And mostly like personal investment, because you gave a lot of your time doing that, right? Because those were free sessions. So also...
Yes. AICS, this Associazione Italiana Cultura e Sport, they support me in this, even a bit in an economical way. And so my colleague also, he invests also time. And we was happy because, you know, generally a research depends in which magazine you want to enter, it depends on the impact factor, but not all the research, especially of like Reiki or similar discipline or methods, they get published. You have to pay for it, okay? But this research, the magazine, they publish it. So actually, I don't have to publish your rights. This is why I cannot share it. I can talk about it, but I cannot share. They have to buy it if they want. But for us, this was how I can say, a confirm that we did a good job.
Yeah, no, it was. And actually, you know, again, most people felt relaxation on those conditions. I have a follow-up question because you're also, obviously, you're a clinical therapist, a psicólogo, I guess, in Spanish, well, in Italian or Spanish, same word. But
Psicólogo.
A lot of times we say Reiki is beneficial for mental health, right? But I talk from my personal experience and some of my fellow practitioners, like as a clinical therapist, could you elaborate a little bit more on what you see how Reiki helps with mental health?
Yes, I can bring a practical example. You know, let's see the 5 precepts of Reiki. And in the first, when I teach them, I saw people that was very enthusiastic about them. You know, don't anger, don't worry, be grateful, and so on. And they learn it mentally to say it. Okay, they record it. They came to me. Oh, I printed. I put them on the refrigerator. It's the first I see when they start the day, or in my work, I write it on a post-it in front of my PC in which I work. But when I said, okay, but what kind of effect they have on your life? And then they start, it's difficult. They are nice, but I don't know how to apply them, you know, and I get aware that it's really like this. And so I try to make them, I found out a tool, I make the worksheets for them. That is a way, a cognitive way strategy to make them more aware about it. And so, for example, anger, I made 4 classification folders of anger. And then I made the days, hours, and it was like this. Okay, you are now here to maybe get angry about something, you know? Okay. So after this happened, this anger comes and you calm a bit down, you take this worksheet, okay, and you go write Monday, 8 o'clock, and you write the kind of anger that you have, like frustration or other that can be, that now I don't know how to say it in English. Anyway, I will translate them, okay? But there are 4 kinds of anger that you can have. So they write it, and then in the evening, they have to analyze it. So why I get angry there? What happened? Because it's not possible that you don't get angry. It's a human emotion. You will have it, but you can manage it. And I said, always start 1 week with every precept, then go to the next, and then the new cycle will be 1 month. Okay, 1 month on anger, 1 month on worry. And I said, end of the month, make a statistic. Which anger is the strongest in your life? And then start to work on it. Which worry is the biggest that you have? And then start work on it. And this actually works, because I set them to make a diary, write every day, make a resume of your day, and try to bring out the most important factors that moves you in the day. That can be emotions, happenings, talking. And like this, I saw that, for example, you can take these precepts and put them in your life in a way to make them work. So my psychology study helped me to give a strategy and the tool to people to really apply, for example, the 5 precepts that I think is the most powerful tool that Reiki gives you to improve. So this maybe it's refer to your question.
No, it's a perfect, because I think the precepts are, as you say, a tool that really will improve your mental health and the knowledge of yourself over time. I see hands-on healing, you get insights and it relaxes you, but the precepts for me are the most active working tool about self-exploration. So you won't get me. I'm still in the Monsing. I usually have them once a week, but it is, yeah, I'm like, I won't question that. I completely agree, because before I worked with the precepts, Reiki didn't have that much of an effect on me. Like, I felt better. My skin was glow. Like, I always say, like, it makes my skin glow. But the transformation came like, okay, why am I always so angry? Why do I freak out? And realizing the feelings beneath that, that's when the transformation really happens. So I love that you put it so simply and so practically as well, for people watching or listening to this podcast to like, wow. Also, I felt sometimes people get very guilty about the precepts because they get angry, they get worried, and it says, do not anger,
it's
right?
Normal.
It's not about that. It's like, anger is a healthy energy if you channel it for self-exploration, right? It's just an emotion. It's not bad or good. It's just, so I love, that was a brilliant answer. So I'm really grateful for that. So I have 2 more questions and then we'll move to drawing. And the first one is, and you already said a few Reiki oops, but I love to really close, no, actually first Italy. I'm today I'm all over the place. I got excited with the precepts. So a little bit of the Reiki in Italy. So I was talking to a person that says we always think Reiki is doing better in another country, right? Like he was in Germany, he believed Reiki was more in hospitals in Japan. And the Japanese believe Reiki was in more hospitals in the US. And the US are like, no, nobody wants Reiki now in Europe. So how is like Reiki in Italy in terms of credibility and growth?
Well, Reiki actually was, how I can say, experiment in some hospitals in Italy. They made some, how I can say, projects to use Reiki in the hospital. This is about the credibility about Reiki in the scientific part, okay? Yeah. And because I think that the asset or who present the project is important too, you know, you have to have first you credibility before that you can give credibility to something. And so there was several doctors that maybe try to, even they made research. There are different Italians that made research about the Reiki. But this is one part. Then we have the social perception about Reiki. And there, I don't want to say in Italy is worse than in other places, because I think everywhere we have almost the same issues. You know, if you talk with the German, they will say, yes, here is the same too. But what I see, and this also is very relative, you know, because now I see the stuff of the point of view of someone that for 30 years actively research Reiki and is now in a point and has matured a different point of view, matured a different awareness about Reiki. And so I cannot compare myself with someone that started maybe 1 year ago and he's still in the process, which I was.
We all
when I started. So I'm critical because not everybody has 30 years experience. It would be fair to have a debate with someone that for 30 years he did too, and so we can watch. No, but if I talk with someone that maybe has 2-3 years experience, and I want to give him my point of view, he will say, okay, you are completely, this is not Reiki what you are telling me, this is completely something different. And I can understand them, but the most of the people in Italy, they think it's something very mystical, something that someone comes, oh, activate your channels. This is crazy also. We master have to change this. We have the responsibility to say the truth. We don't open nothing. Everything is already open. And say this is just because you want to have the power. And because if you open some things, you are also able to close it. It's not possible that you can open some things and not close it. And this will be a very big responsibility. So everybody is open. And Usui said it, we all are Reiki, no one excluded. But you open now il vaso di Pandora, the Pandora, you know.
And listen, it's something like New York, like what you're describing is exactly true everywhere. Yes.
You know, and when we talk about this stuff, we have to really have the moral and ethical responsibility to say the truth to people, you know. Reiki is not a sect. It's not a dogma. It's not a religion. So, but when we make the people believe that to enter in this community, you have to be open your channel. You have to believe that this energy is wise and intelligent and will do everything through you. Then there is a discrimination. It means this energy say, okay, let me see. Nathalie, you took Reiki? Okay, I can pass through you. Francesco, you didn't get Reiki, sorry, I can. And this is really crazy. If it would be like this, I would stop be Reiki Master in that moment. But thanks God, it's not like this. Everybody's open. The rituals are important in the human society. We have thousands of rituals, and they generally used to is a changer, you know. You pass from a situation to another situation, from not being the community to be in the community. And the one that represents this community, and we master all this, we just allow you to enter in the community, and we want to celebrate with an initiation ceremony. And I see it like this, it's just the first step you make to start to go inside you. And I want to celebrate it with you. I accept you in my school, in my lineage, I want to make this ceremony. But far away from all this power stuff, and I open now, thanks to me, you can go and use this energy. This is crazy. And when I talk with people, generally in Italy, you know, they never talk with me and ask, hey, let me, what you teach in your courses, no? In 1 year, what you can teach them in 1 year? What are the contents? No. For example, I made some online courses, you know, they said, yes, but how you can open them the channels, you know, with distance initiation or activation, as they call it. It means for them, Reiki is this activation, and then you're a healer. And this is a big, big, big mistake, because if you want to go, and I say that psychologists, if you want to go in a therapeutical way, be helpful to someone, you have to have competencies. You cannot lay the hands of someone and then think that something magical happened, and you are just a vessel, and this energy pass, and you are not responsible about it. You don't give nothing. This is really crazy. Where goes my energy? Where it goes? It disappears. It cannot disappear. I'm here. I'm thinking. I'm breathing, and this is crazy. And so, but even if this other person has emotional outcomes, you know, maybe start to cry, start to have a big emotional moment. How you want to manage it? What you are doing? What you want to do? So you need competences. And I always say the first step is heal yourself. Then when you heal yourself, it means you start to master this tool. And then you can approach to others. And you need to understand a lot of stuff about the human being, the mind, the body. It's not just hands-on healing. It's far. Actually, I think we know very less about Reiki. And what we know is bias, what was told to us. But when you start to experience it, it's a game changer. You start to see the stuff in another way, you know. I could stay here now hours to talk about it, but I don't wanna.
But I think you've been making a very consistent point, and I'll take this as the oops, as we're like being with the time. But you've been a consistent thing about self-empowerment, right? That was your theme at the beginning, and at the end, as teachers, when we give to our students an ability, we still have the power. We're not empowering our students, right? Like.
Exactly.
And
this is the hope that you said.
And empowering someone is not someone who has. We get to Reiki because we're not happy, right? Like if we were completely happy, we may not take a Reiki class, but telling someone, I'll do a ritual, and then you can place your hands and help heal other people. That is, for me, like, is that really empowering this person to be healed? Or we just giving them a razor, you know, to the proverbial, like we're just like, so for me, again, I don't give a year classes, but for me, it's like practice of every day and growth. So I think, yeah, you've been very clear, and that's the biggest mistake we make. And that's the reason I got into Reiki. I wanted to, like, I touch people and everything is good, right? That was my biggest oops. And I think that's the perception we get in. You know,
and as master was this to think that I can empower someone. It's not like this, because everybody, you know, this is dangerous. Because if you think you can heal someone, it means, apart the big responsibility that you would have, it means I cannot sleep in the night anymore. Because if I sleep 8 hours, how many people I don't heal, you know?
So because you have a conscience.
Yeah. And no, everybody has his own responsibility to improve their life, and you just can give them tools. So this is really a big mistake, a dangerous mistake. Even when you have a treatment, okay, in this treatment, you know, you don't give energy to him. You pass information. Imagine like this: we are now breathing. You know, you see the air. No, you don't see. But you breathe it, okay? And when you breathe in, then you breathe out. So when we would refer to Ki and Rei, no? When you breathe in, the source of this breathe in comes from the out source, from the Rei. And then when you put it again out, so it means it changed some things, no? When it goes in and comes out. And this gives a new information to the whole. So when you make Reiki, you give not energy to him, you give energy to the field. And the other, he takes this energy, in which is also the information that you pass him. And then you have to metabolize it. You have to get awareness about some stuff. And this can make him improve. And like this, it's even more nice. It means you took the responsibility to change your life. It's not because he treat you or he gave you some things and so, oh, thank you. No. Bravo, Graziano. Yes, she give you the right input, but you move your legs forward. So I think this is very important.
No, I think this is great. And I think it's great that we bring it to light so people are more aware of that, you know, especially in the way we communicate and all of that. So I know we went over a bunch of mistakes and very deep things, but I wanted to ask you one more question, and are there probably a lighter insight, like a small insight that made you laugh and learn from Reiki, or the one tip that you will give to someone beyond obviously practicing with the precepts to deepen their practice? So you get to choose what you want to share.
Yes.
Last question.
I think, you know, the reality that you see around you is like you represent it to yourself. It's not how it really is. And so if you want to change some things that change outside also, you have to start with yourself. It means take everything life offers you, Reiki or meditation, whatever it fits to you, and then try to embody it. Be this, be meditation, be Reiki. And you will explore in this process how much insights and awareness you will bring to yourself that then will have a big impact, and it will reflect in the reality around you. So I start from this point that it maybe can be difficult, because you said that if someone comes to Reiki, he has difficulties, maybe he's suffering, and when you go to him and say, hey, listen, here nobody will make a miracle for you, nobody will heal you, nobody will, you know, take your problems and solve it. You have to do it. But the good news is you have everything you need to do it. So start from you. Believe in yourself. Yes, this is nice. Believe in yourself. You have everything you need.
Or believe in your true self. You don't want the self that lies to you.
Yes,
It's
yes.
like,
okay, start with believe in yourself, and then you will get to the true self also. And yes, I think this is very important. I like to say this at last, and I always say it. I say, you know, the practitioner or the master is like the darkness in the cinema or the silence in the opera.
that's lovely.
You don't see it, you know, but it's necessary. It helps you to bring the opera. It helps you to watch the movie, but it's your movie. You are the main actor. You are just the one that fit the how you can say the context so that you can do it. This is a good master in my eyes. Someone that is there, but you don't see him. You know, you always have the feeling you are the one that is doing, but he's there.
That's
show you
beautiful metaphor, because the darkness is what allows you to see what you're supposed to see, not get distracted by all the details, right?
Exactly. And the silent to hear the opera, because if everybody's shouting, you don't hear the opera. This is your opera. It's your life that is going on.
Yeah, hopefully it won't be a Verdi opera. I'll go for a more
yes.
opera.
Bravo.
Bravo. You can keep the Verdi. Like, well, you have to go to Milan. Always, I don't know why I think of the Milan opera and Verdi together, which is...
Yeah, once you are in Milano, you are near to go in other cities. Right. Venezia, Firenze, Roma.
It's a beautiful metaphor, because I think, and one of my things I'm trying as a teacher as I advance is to speak less, right? Yes. And again, that metaphor is very beautiful about self-empowerment. We're not there to explain and process everything Reiki for students. We need to also let the room for them to explore the practice and give them permission to do so. So I love that metaphor. I'm stealing it for sure. I'll say, like, I spoke to this Italian, very wise Reiki master. I'll give you credit.
You're welcome.
Is there anything I forgot to ask you, Graziano, that you want to add before we move to the drawing?
No, I think it's perfect like this. What was said had to be said, and we said it. So,
and beautifully so.
It's okay. Yes.
So you sent me a few words, and this is the drawing that came out. So hopefully you can see it.
Wow.
So there was a lot of evolution, which again, it came with the circles, and the circles have the 5 elements in them. The Japanese elements, and then obviously Hara going up there, and then a lot of earth. Don't ask me, but I always like to include a lot of grounding. And then, as usual, silver and gold are non-duality, because I don't know why every time I think of you, I think a lot about non-duality. when it comes to Reiki?
This is interesting, and show it to me again, please.
Yes.
Okay, this is very harmonic, this paint, because it has the ground. That is very important, you know. You have to be grounded before you go up, otherwise you will lose. And up there, all these elements, you know, they are necessary also, because have to everything be inclusive. So it gives me a very perception of balance, and it's very nice. So I thank you very much. I like it very much. Thank you.
I'm glad you liked it. Yeah, it's every drawing is different, but those words really helped me, and that conversation we had. So I basically draw without thinking, so it's also a sort of meditation. So I'm glad you liked it, and hopefully the post office will be able to mail it. I'll scan a version in case something happens, and I can always redo it. But
it will arrive.
It will arrive. It always does. I want to thank you so much. Getting to know you was fantastic. Again, you're in Italy. We didn't know each other before this podcast. So I hope everyone will enjoy as much as I did getting to know you. And hopefully we'll hear a lot more about you and Reiki in Italy and your research and all of that.
Thank you very much to have me here. It was really a nice conversation with you. Thank you to give me this opportunity to do it.
You're welcome. And if you're ever in New York, I'll give you a tour from the safe areas right now.
I will take you on board. I will come.
Perfect. Thank you, Graziano. Ciao.
Ciao.
Baci.
Ciao.